Number 7, the Honourable John Boscawen.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Does he think that implementing the 2025 Taskforce recommendations in November 2009 would have avoided New Zealand's double credit downgrade? If not, why not?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, no, because the reasons for the change in ratings are first the long-term accumulation of external liabilities, particularly the fast build-up under the previous government, and secondly the very depressing mood, if not semi-crisis mood, that is currently enveloping world financial markets. Fulfilling the recommendations of the 2025 report wouldn't have made any difference to either of those factors.
The Honourable John Boscawen.
Supplementary to the Minister. In light of Fitch's statement that one of the reasons for the downgrade was that public finances have, quote, deteriorated in the past 3 years, unquote, does he accept that his failure to come anywhere near meeting the Taskforce goal of reducing spending to 29% of GDP is in part responsible for the downgrade?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, we believe the government has made balanced and considered decisions about how to handle a pretty severe recession. There are some, such as the authors of the 2025 task force, who felt that we should have slashed government expenditure in the face of that recession, which would, of course, stalled the economy, cost lots of jobs and hurt our country's most vulnerable people. There are others on the left who advocated very high levels of stimulus, which would have been irresponsible. The government has charted a balanced and considered course between those alternatives.
The Honourable John Boscawen.
Supplementary to the Minister. If the government had had the courage to scrap interest-free student loans, overhaul working for families, scrap doctors and pharmacy subsidies for high-income earners, and radically reform the Resource Management Act, as recommended by both the 2025 Task Force and Act on many occasions, would the credit downgrade have been more or less likely to have occurred?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, it's not a matter of courage, it's a matter of judgment. And the government stands by the judgments that it made, and I think most New Zealanders would stand by those judgments. It's not at all obvious that taking the measures the report advocates would have avoided the downgrade. For instance, if we had followed that path, we may well have stalled economic growth and we could have ended up with our external liabilities as a higher proportion of GDP than they are. And on that basis, the ratings agencies may have been more likely to downgrade us.
The Honourable John Boscawen.
Supplementary to the Minister. Doesn't the double downgrade and the deteriorating state of New Zealand's public finances confirm what the 2025 Task Force and Act have been saying all along, that if the government is serious about turning around the economy, its judgment would have been better to have stopped tinkering and to start being bold?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the government has taken a number of bold measures, including a very substantial tax switch back in 2010, and now, and in the last budget, setting out a very tight path to surplus, one of the faster fiscal adjustments among developed economies. In fact, our public finances have stopped deteriorating. The peak of that deterioration was the last financial year. In the current financial year, we would expect the deficit to almost halve, and then halve again in the subsequent financial year, and by 2014-15 reach surplus.
Question number 8, Grant Robertson.